Hi everyone. You guys probably have seen recently this guy
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
post a video titled "A Message to the Sikhs," in which he makes some particular claims about the Sikhs. And while some Guru Sikhs have responded to this video already, where they've rigorously looked at his argument and came to very logical conclusions, I'll be adding insight from Ityasik viewpoint, our history, and the light of Gurbani itself.
And he's an individual who had interactions with Sufi people, the like of Baba Farid, who was a Sufi Muslim. Now, he also obviously was in a milieu where Hinduism was prevalent. Now, I want to ask you a simple question. How likely is it that this was all the case and that these two religions, which actually have nothing to do with each other, Islam and Hinduism, really in its final form, I'm not talking about a case that can be in the beginning, they're not Abrahamic sort of religions, they don't come from the same sort of, they have nothing to do with each other, but somehow Sikhism was able to amalgamate those two aspects in religion into one religion.
So looking in particular of the argument about Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj being surrounded by Muslims and Hindus, this itself is a very weak argument, okay? Because, really it takes one case to showcase how that doesn't imply anything. Okay? When we look at the Hindu faith, okay? So you yourself mentioned that Islam came to be in an area that was already, very well influenced by Christianity and Judaism, okay? But when we look at the Hindu faith, that came thousands of years before Islam, okay? And it came to be in a place that was free of the influence of Christianity and Islam, because obviously it didn't even exist at that time. And what we see in this Hindu faith is there are concepts of reciting the name of God, okay? So I'm making this point because that's something you mentioned about the similarities that we have in our faith.
You do a dhikr, which is essentially the same thing, remembering God and saying his name.
The Hindu faith had it thousands of years before the Islam faith, and they were not influenced by the Christians. Okay, in that same sense, they also have this idea of the one Brahman. Okay, we know that they show devotion to many, many deities. Okay, but aside from this, that they do have the concept of the one Brahman. Okay, which relates to the monotheistic aspect of the Islam faith. Okay, so what we see demonstrated here is the aspects of a truth had been achieved outside of the influence of other faiths. This is showcasing to us that the truth is not exclusive just to Islam. And it does not imply that the truth could only be attained in the influence of Christianity and Islam. Okay, so this alone is enough for me to make the statement that Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, being in an area, okay, interacting with Muslims and Hindus, does not imply that they took the truth from it.
Now the fact is this, in fact the Quran says, قُلْ مَا كُنْتُ بِدْعًا مِنَ الرُّسُلِ وَمَا كُنْتُ أَدْرِي مَا يُفْعَلُ بِي وَلَا بِكُمْ. I wasn't something new from the prophets. He says the opposite. I wasn't something new. I don't know what's going to happen to me and you. So the Prophet Muhammad gave credit to previous prophets and messengers. You've got an individual, Guru Nanak, okay? This individual, he was influenced without a shadow of a doubt by Sufis and by Hinduism.
So our brother Mohammed here is coming to that conclusion by making an assumption that the Guru did not give credit to the truth that existed before them. And this is simply not true. You see very beautifully, as he himself has mentioned, that there are verses of devotees from multiple different backgrounds. But what has to be understood here is those devotees themselves were criticizing the respective faiths they were coming in. And they were in fact not even accepted by the members of that faith during those times. I'll give you an example. Bhagat Kabir Ji, another individual from the Islamic background. We see they describe their states as such. There's a verse in Gurbani, they say, Kabir tun karta tun hua mujh mein raha na hu. A state describing the complete extinction of ego, complete recognition of the true self, of being no different from the divine. Bhagat Kabir Ji is saying they have become that divine, that primal being themselves. Now Bhagat Kabir Ji in another verse they describe Puja band pila kar daryo hasti krup moon mein maryo. They said they were tied up and thrown in front of an elephant by the Qazi, by the Muslims. They were trying to eliminate Bhagat Kabir Ji. And they say, Buzi nahi Qazi andiyare. Bhagat Kabir Ji says that the blind Muslim the ignorant Muslim, the spiritually ignorant Muslim did not understand the state Bhakt Kabir Ji was at. What was the state? In that verse itself, in fact, in the final line, they say, Kaho Kabir Hamra Gobind Chauthe Pad Mein Jan Ki Jind. Bhakt Kabir Ji says they abide in the fourth state, Chautha Pada. Chautha Pada is referring to a heightened spiritual state that is beyond the entanglements of Maya. Now, Maya, very simply, as described in Gurbani by Guru Amar Das Ji, they say, "E Maya jit har vistre mohu pje pao duja laya." Maya is that which makes us forget Vaheguru, forget the truth, become distracted and entangled in the distractions of the world. We start to obtain an attachment to the materialistic things of the world. That is all the works of Maya. Bhakt Kabir Ji is saying they have rised above such Maya now. They abide in that Chauthapada, and this Chauthapada is referred to by the Guru themselves. That was not the only thing that happened to Bhakt Kabir Ji, but to mention various things would be lengthy. Another example I can give you from a member of a different respective faith is Bhakt Namdev Ji. Now, Bhakt Namdev Ji, very similarly, they say, Name Narayan Nahi Ped. Again, we see them suggesting a heightened spiritual state here, an complete extension of the self, obtaining the ultimate truth, recognizing they are no different from the divine. They're in fact one with it. They were always that one with that primal being. Now, Bhakt Namdev Ji describing the state, there's another verse in which they say, Hast khele te tere dehore aaya, Bhakt kar nama pakar uthaya. They say, laughingly and lovingly, they went to the mandir one day. But while they were performing their devotion, they were grabbed and thrown out. So again, we see the demonstration of how those beings were not respected by their own faith, and then we see a criticism come forth as well. You see, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, okay, as that's the claim that Guru Nanak Dev Ji is combining aspects of the two. Now, looking just from our history, because I know other Gurmukhs, they've very analytically and logically come up with very incredible points. But if you just look at history itself, Guru Nanak Dev Ji once was called to a mosque. And the Muslims were saying that, Guru Nanak, you're talking about everything being one. If that's the case, why don't you come read the namaz with us? And Guru Nanak says, okay, and they go with them to the mosque, and all the Muslims, they line up to read the namaz, but Guru Nanak doesn't utter a single word. They don't speak the namaz at all. And when they were asked afterwards, why not? And then Guru Nanak describes there was no one to read the namaz with. And now, obviously puzzled, confused, the Qazis start asking Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak begins to describe to them where their minds were, literally, while they were reading the prayer. One of them was focused on particular worldly duties, the other. And when they heard Guru Nanak actually describing what they were actually thinking, where their focus actually was, while the mouth was reading the prayer, they in fact started doing namaskar, showing respect as this is not some everyday being. So what we see demonstrated here is Guru Nanak is actually making the people of the respective faith, in that example, beings of the Muslim faith, in fact helping them reconnect to the true purpose of what they're supposed to be doing, not taking upon what they were doing. Guru Nanak doesn't read the namaz, but he helped the Muslims understand what they should in fact be doing while they were reading the namaz, helping them become aware once again to the true purpose of their practice. We see Guru Nanak Dev Ji was born in a Hindu family, but they were not Hindu. They rejected one of the most fundamental aspects, the janeu, a sacred thread worn by the Hindus. They say, Hoye Purana Suttiye Pi Fir Paye Hor Nanak Tagna Tutti Je Tag Hove Zor. They say, this thread that you are about to put on me, it can wear out, it can be thrown away. When I pass on from this life, will this thread go on with me? And obviously the answer is no. Such a thread can be burned, such a thread can get wet with water, it can break down. Guru Nanak says, do you have that thread that will stay with me forever? They explain to those Hindus that the true thread is made out of virtue, not just the physical one. So once again, we see them rejecting aspects of that respective faith and helping them understand the true purpose of what they're actually supposed to be doing. So now if we make the claim that Guru Nanak is taking from both, but this shows a clear lack of the knowledge of Gurbani. I'm sure my brother Mohammed here has a lot of knowledge on the Quran and Islam, but not on Sikh history and Gurbani, because in fact the verses of the beings criticizing the respective faiths they were from, the verses pointing to their heightened divine natures that were not recognized by their faiths but the Guru recognized, those beings' verses were included. This is something fundamental to understand here.
There are practices and beliefs in Sikhism which are too close to Islam for you to say that it was independently discovered despite it. There are 3 fixed times for prayers. And then in that you can pray actually 5 times if you space it out. And you have to wash yourself before you pray. You have to respect the Guru Granth Sahib in a similar way that we have to respect the Quran.
Because as human beings, we want to stay clean, right? It's like washing your face or combing your hair, brushing your teeth. You know, if one person starts brushing their teeth today, and I claim, 1,000 years later, that because someone's brushing their teeth, that they must be influenced by that faith. That makes absolutely no sense. It's quite meaningless, actually. So this idea of washing yourself, I don't know where he's trying to go with that, but we'll just leave it at that. And now he mentions times of prayer, 3 times of prayer, he says, and he said it can be spread out to 5. Now, once again, this point is quite meaningless, okay? Because the Guru is saying, "Je vela vakt vichariye, kit vele bhagt karije." The Guru is saying it, if we start to contemplate when to do simran, when to meditate, when to read prayer, then what conclusion will we come to? Okay, so the Guru is in fact telling us, simra gobind man antar ki utre chind. The Guru is saying with each and every breath being the meditation, the remembrance of the truth. They're saying while you're talking, while you're sitting, while you're standing, you're running, while you're eating, at all times the Guru is saying being in that meditation in simran Vaheguru. Now, absolutely there are formal times of devotion. Okay, now the reason those are there is because we have certain lifestyles. Okay, we wake up. Okay, a lot of people, they go to work, they come home. Okay, now we're thinking about worldly things all the time. It's nice to have a set time just for devotion, but that point itself does not mean anything. That if we are having formal times of devotion, like we established, the Guru is in fact making us rise above such a bondage of thinking there's one specific time we need to absolutely be meditating or doing devotion of. He also mentions how we respect Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji in a similar sense to the Quran. Okay, well, I think the same can be said about multiple traditions. Okay, if you're part of a respective faith and you have the verses of the respective being, you're probably not going to be throwing that around. You're probably not going to be touching it with dirty hands. Okay, you're probably going to be showing respect to it. Okay, as anybody would be. Okay, people show respect just to normal education. It's part of a culture. In fact, in some cultures, even if it's a textbook of, let's say, science or history or whatever, there's a cultural practice sometimes that even touching that upon the head as well. You're showing respect to the knowledge itself. Okay, so just so if someone is showing respect to a particular scripture, that doesn't really imply anything. It doesn't really imply you're stealing something from another faith.
All these years, thousands of years of human civilization, that we were left without guidance from God. God didn't communicate with any prophet, any messenger in a direct and explicit way. Okay, he did not communicate. And in the 15th century, he decided to communicate with Guru Nanak in the Punjab region, and then that wasn't even made into a universalist religion. Be honest, do you believe that? Wallahi, that's false.
When we look at historians describing the state of the world before Guru Nanak had come, okay, so all these faiths had existed. Christianity, Islam, the Hindu faith, the Buddhist faith. They all existed, but the historians are describing something. By Gurdashti, they're saying, Ta'ol adini nistan roa. They're saying the state of the world was such that there was sin everywhere. There was suffering everywhere. The ignorance of people, the spiritual ignorance of the beings upon this earth, all over this earth, was causing them suffering. And you see, then it is later described, Suni pukar datar prabh Guru Nanak jag mahe pathaya. Hearing the cries of humanity, seeing the state the world had gone to, whilst those other faiths did exist, they were there, the truth had been there, but the state of the world in that time was described as such that spiritual ignorance was greater than actual recognition of truth. And so I think we'll agree that Allah, God, Vaheguru, is compassionate, is merciful. Would he not see the state of the world and do something about it? That's exactly what happened. Suni pukar datar prabh. That primal being, that oneness, recognizing the cries of humanity and answering to that, Guru Nanak jag mahe pathaya. Guru Nanak was the solution. They were placed upon this earth once again to make people realize the truth that had been forgotten. So you see, the Guru is not a prophet. I could actually just say that in the beginning, the discussion is over. Prophet Mohammed is the final prophet. Great, the Guru is not a prophet. Okay, so who is the Guru? The Guru is absolutely one with God. Now when I'm saying God, I'm not referring to some human-like figure in the clouds. What I'm saying now has been explained by multiple Guru Sikhs. When we use this word God, we're describing that infinite consciousness, that infinite oneness, that primal being that is pervading and manifest absolutely everywhere simultaneously, within and without the universe, within us and outside of us. Okay? The Guru is one with them, in fact no different from them. The Guru is that primal being. Okay, this is shown to us in Gurbani. Jot Rupa Har Aap Guru Nanak Kahayo. Guru Nanak is the embodiment, is the manifestation of the light of God upon this earth. The beautiful Sakhi of Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj when they were in Makkah actually. Okay, so in their travels, when they had reached that location, they were resting, and they were resting in a way that their feet were stretched towards Kaaba. Okay, so obviously Kaaba is seen as the house of Allah, and there was a local Muslim, and they noticed that Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj had their feet stretched out, and they were quite furious. They went and started lecturing Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj on why they had their feet facing the house of Allah. And Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, they obviously bestowed heightened teaching. They said, move my feet in the direction that Allah is not present. And so when that Muslim moved the feet of Guru Nanak Dev Ji away from the Kaaba, miraculously all of Kaaba started to rotate wherever the feet of Guru Nanak Dev Ji went. Okay, so, and then immediately that Muslim began to realize that this is some divine entity, this is not some everyday being. Okay, I know Sakhis like these, there's multiple of them, but to go through every one it would be quite lengthy. But they can be found in historical texts such as the Janam Sakhi by Gurdaswara. This one actually in particular was written by a Muslim. Okay, there was an individual by the name of Sayyid Mushtaq Hussain. Okay, he was a Muslim scholar, and when he was studying in Medina, he actually found this manuscript called Tajuddin's Diary. Okay, written by a Muslim, and when he read that script, he got so moved by the miracles of Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji that he actually embraced Sikhi, and took Amrit and became an initiated member of the Khalsa, and later became known as Sayyid Prithipal Singh. You can find his story online. Okay, another such instance I'll give you is of the 10th Guru. Okay, because this is consistent. Okay, it wasn't just Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. Again, there's so many Sakhis to go over. I'll just give you one more example of the 10th Guru. It was actually when they manifested upon this earth. So when the day came when they manifested upon this earth, took upon that human vessel, there was a Muslim Peer by the name of Khan Shah, a Muslim saint. And usually, of course, a Muslim would read his namaz facing Makkah, facing Kaaba, but today he started facing the direction that Shri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj is born. And obviously, his followers started asking him, like, what is he doing? And Khan Shah, he explained how they felt that the Noor, the light of Allah, had just manifested upon this earth. And so they directed their prayer and bowed in the direction that Shri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj was born. They actually went out to even go meet the Guru. And once they got there, they decided to put a test in front of the Guru. They placed 2 bowls of milk and water in front of Shri Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Again, just months, we're not talking many months or years old. This is very recently they had manifested upon this earth. So they placed these 2 bowls of milk and water, and what was this test supposed to be? They wanted to see who was Guru Gobind Singh Ji here for. If Guru Gobind Singh Ji placed their hand on a particular cup, it meant that they were here for the Muslims. If they placed their hand on the other cup, it meant they were here for the Hindus. And Shri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, in fact, placed their hands on both. Okay, this signified that they weren't here for just one person. They didn't belong to just one singular title. They were here for all of humanity. They liberated all of humanity. They were here to save all of humanity. This can be found in, Gurbala Spatshai Dasmiya, such text, and Saw Sakhi as well.
And the answer is Islam. That's all I have to say. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
What I've covered today really is going over a lot of what Muhammad was saying. And it was quite funny actually in the beginning of the video. He was talking about some of the tensions that are among the Sikh community right now.
About the kirpan, and some people have been trying to generalize the dignified and integrous Sikh community of this country in the UK.
And when I saw that, I'm like, okay, this is actually quite genuine, quite nice of the brother to do that. But near the end of the video, he just using it as an opportunity to convert us.
To convert people to Islam, as I'm trying to do to you right now. Yeah?
So it was quite funny. Brought a smile to my face. Okay, but it is what it is, right? I still thank my brother for making the video. Okay? Because I think this argument here, it's coming from a very solidified belief within our brother here that Islam is the only truth. Okay, that's wonderful for you though, brother. Okay, that you believe that no one else besides the Prophet can bring the message of God. Okay, but you're trying to connect the dots on Sikhi, on a very limited understanding of Sikhi, Sikh history and Gurbani, and a very narrow opinion here. Okay, but again, I still thank you, because what you've done is you've allowed for the opportunity for people to get educated. You've allowed for the opportunity to Sikhs now come, respond to you, and educate people on these matters. Like, so in that sense, there is an upside. Okay, but other Gurmukhs, besides me, have already created responses to your video, and they've done beautiful jobs in their own ways. I recommend to the Sikh and non-Sikh viewers of this video to definitely go check those out. Okay, because it adds the perspective. But it's agreed upon that what our brother is claiming here is simply not true. Okay, so thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for your time, and Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.